An alderman for the last 7 years, David Moore is an Inglewood resident running for the office of Secretary of State in Illinois. With his experience in corporate America, politics, and community organizing, he is connected with residents and issues throughout the state. He says his grassroots and corporate background give him the skills needed to be effective. As part of our special primary and election coverage, Alderman David Moore spoke with the Chicago Defender about why he believes his run for Secretary of State is a calling, his plan for modernizing the Secretary of State, protecting voting rights, and why he believes he's the best candidate for office. First, I think one of the main things that people are thinking about as we head into this election are all of these voter suppression laws that are coming about, and what our local officials are planning to do to actually protect our voting rights and to make sure that the process of actually voting runs smoothly. What would be your plan as Secretary of State?
Right. So before even getting into that piece, which is the critical piece, is getting people and the number of people to vote and getting those voting numbers up and those registered voters up. And one of the things, I was the first one to propose to make sure that we get our young people registered quickly. A lot of young people are not registering sometimes until they're 25 or 26. So at 16, they can get a driver's license, but they can't register to vote at 16. And so what I propose to do is that when they turn 18, on their 18th birthday, they get a birthday card from me saying they're automatically registered to vote and giving them an opt-out option instead of an opt-in option. And then that gives them a real reason at 18 when they have that first civic responsibility to go out and vote because they are excited about it at that time. Now, that's first getting them on the roll. The other part is that I am the first one in this race to say that I'm going to use that Secretary of State offices to create 122 youth engagement offices throughout our state. There are 122 driving facilities, and that's to give civic internships to our youth and young adults all year round, teaching civic responsibility, professional responsibility, but letting them know about public and about government. When they know about their government, then they are more apt to be involved voters. And so from that standpoint, it's increasing that aptitude in terms of voting and the importance of voting to get them involved. Now, once they start voting, and then it's making sure that the Secretary of State, you'll hear me talk about the responsibility of the Secretary of State, using that voice to make sure here in Illinois, the Secretary of State's office does not certify elections like other Secretary of State does. It's done under the State Board of Elections, which is under the jurisdiction of the governor. But making sure at the Secretary of State, using my voice and elevating my voice to make sure that our state legislators are passing laws to protect our voting rights.
During the pandemic, it really highlighted how inefficient some of our processes are. Having said that, what would be your ideas as far as making the process of getting some of those basic services, driver's license renewals, things like that, to speed up the process or modernize it?
Absolutely. So let's start with the modernization aspect. And again, I was the first one to talk about bringing digital license plates to Illinois and making sure that we have digital license plates as an option. Right now, they're doing it in California, Arizona, and Michigan, which make it easier for registering, for titling, and for renewal. And so you don't even have to go in. It's digital. It's automatically. You can do it from your phone. And so with that, it also gives you, it's also a cost savings of over $500 of $250 over a 5-year period, but also it's a safety mechanism. These digital license plates can display if your car is stolen, carjacked, or anything like that, it can flash stolen so that we can get people catch people that we're not catching now, and also deter people. But the whole idea is to really eliminate the process of even going inside the Secretary of State's office to even renew or to title your driver's license or your renewal. But here's the other part. We know we deal with people who don't like to use technology, right? And so I also was the first to propose, people don't know, but you may know, that the Secretary of State is also the state librarian. And so we can use our libraries as satellite offices for those just quick things that's near people's homes, where everybody don't have to go to a major driver facility, stand in a long line just to renew a license or just to get a sticker. You can go to your local library and do those quick things. And so therefore it'll be shorter lines because you have more libraries, in various parts of the communities. And so that'll make it more accessible. The other thing is making sure that we're using mobile services. Right now, I am currently the alderman at 17th Ward, and I do something what I call alderman on the block, is that everybody don't come to my office for service. Right. So I have to take my office out to the community, and I'll set up in a precinct in a 4-block radius of a precinct, so people can just walk up to it and they can get services from me. So, but this way we can do mobile services through the driver's state, expand that mobile services, bring those services to the community, and making sure that people have more options instead of just one.
Now, what inspired you to run for Secretary of State?
Well, first, like everything for me, not everything, but in this case, as similar to Alderman, it's a calling on your life, first of all. I tell people there's two people I keep my eyes on. Anybody saying they want to be a preacher and anybody saying they want to be an elected official. Because it's not something you run to, it's something you run from. But you accept that calling and you accept that calling to serve. But what attracts me to the Secretary of State's office is like my aldermanic office. It's a nonpartisan position where you just get to serve people regardless of race, regardless of religion, regardless of color. It's customer service driven. And it's similar to the type of work that I do right now as an alderman, being out there in my community, making sure that my community have access to me and I'm listening to them about the issues, the everyday issues that they're dealing with and being accessible to them. And that's what attracts me to this Secretary of State's office.
And what do you think separates you from some of the other Democratic candidates? What makes you the best candidate?
First and foremost, my qualifications. You look at our resumes first and foremost. I have a dual degree in accounting and operations management. I spent 10 years in the private sector as an accountant or operations manager before coming to the public sector, the Department of Aviation, as an accountant, working for the Board of Review of Tax Appeals. My background as an accountant gives me the ability as a financial person to have the fiscal responsibility to run an office that we can keep fiscally sound without raising the fees, but also running effective and efficient operations as we just discussed, so that we can keep those lines down. But also, this is more and more important than anything. That department is about ethics. It's about integrity and it's about character. I am the only one in this race who does not have ethical issues. Okay, and I've lived that way, not only as personally, but definitely in the public sphere and when we're serving people. And so it's important that that office have someone that has has the integrity and the character to uphold that office. And that's what separates me from the other candidates.
And lastly, what would you want to tell the Chicago Defender readers about you that they don't know? What else would you like our readers to know about you?
I guess what some of your readers probably don't know about me, and I said that already, a lot of them know me as an alderman, but a lot of them don't know that my corporate background experience that leads me and gives me that ability to run this office. I can tell you, if this was a corporate position instead of a public one, the other two candidates wouldn't even be in the race right now for this seat. And so that's what I want people to know, because most people just see, okay, that's somebody that probably ran for alderman, got elected, but they don't know my background, my skills as an accountant, as an operations manager, and as also a person who brings that servitude of being a servant that will listen to his constituents. That combination, a lot of people don't have, and I have it.
Well, I can't thank you enough for talking to the Chicago Defender. I really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Primary elections are held June 28th, 2022, with the general election occurring on November 8th. The Chicago Defender encourages all readers to register and vote in the primary and general elections. This is Danielle Sanders for the Chicago Defender.